thanks for coming. Thanks for taking, the time. My name is Matteo Cassese. I'm so happy to welcome you here. This is going to be what I call a diagnostic session or some sort of coaching, not coaching session. What we want to do today is just talk very openly about what is on our minds, and what we're going to do together is most probably do a round of the table and probably not really reach the end of the table, which is fine, as I'm sure we all have a lot to learn from each other. The only thing that I invite you to do is to not transform this into a debate and not jump to the solutions. Like, you will hear a lot of problems that you've already solved in your own practice, and you know that the solution is, cloud computing or more funding or better marketing. But it's very interesting for us today to stay with the problem and see if the problem wants to teach us something, if there is some wisdom in the problem, or maybe we don't need to solve the problem immediately. So that's why I invite you not to debate things and kind of respect the fact that I will work together with all of you, but singularly with all of you. And when it makes sense, we can open it up to the whole group. And I'd love for you just to do like a small introduction. You can also say what's on your mind for tonight. Just say something about yourself, maybe. I'll start. I'm originally from Italy. I've been here a little while now. I live on a small farm right outside of the city. I've been sort of recruited by my clients to become a sort of coach. The definition that I'm trying to give right now is still very much work in progress, but the work that I do is mostly being a sidekick, sparring partner, shadow partner for entrepreneurs mostly. And this has been like a development process. It's been just happening to me. And at this point, it's really blooming. But I am also a corporate marketer in recovery since 20 years. I'm also a consultant in recovery. I'm a freelancer in recovery. And my big business challenge right now is actually to transform a practice into a company. So a practice that could be like, I could be like a lawyer or an expert, a photographer, a video maker, but how to transition that into a company, an actual company that outlives me and works on a mission, etc. And this is the exciting challenge for me. And so this is where I'm going. And I'm super curious to hear where you are going, Omar. To you.
I work in a healthcare company. I build platform for physicians. But on the side, I'm an entrepreneur. And now I'm building another business to connect people that is a specialized or critically skilled people. Instead of their filling out resumes and etc., they talk to our proprietary algorithm. Then algorithm match you with someone who is looking for you. Like, we have the connectors in our society. This is an embodiment of a connected in AI version. That's it. I like cycling. I'm almost a professional amateur cyclist. I'm horrible. Not correlated. But yeah, I do cycle and I play saxophone, and I'm looking forward to discover some questions. I'm not here for answers.
Good. That's always the search for questions is always very wise.
And over to you.
Thanks. My name is Julian. I've been in Berlin already quite a few years, 4 years, but only came up with the idea to join a co-working space in the last. I'm happy to be here. I'm currently running an automation platform that recently got from the development phase into the on the market phase, and the idea is basically to automate everything in 3 minutes with the AI. And so I'm interested in all sorts of debate or not debates or maybe import exchange. Yeah. So yeah, that's about me. I like to climb and the music also.
All right, so you know my name. My name is Marcelina, and I think I'm very like analog person here, because I teach yoga, meditation. I'm a founder of Hard Work Space. I mean, for now it's just me. I founded it last summer, so it's been just half of the year, which is all about workplace well-being and bringing awareness to the nervous system health in the workplace, brain health, and how it actually impacts the business. So I'm all about well-being in different forms. And most of my services are in person in Berlin. I do a little bit online, but this is something that I have resistance towards because I come from yoga and teaching in yoga studios in person. So like online stuff are a little bit for me like difficult to, yeah, and I know that in person I kind of enjoy facilitating things more. Yeah, and I have a big vision for Hard Work Space, and I feel like sometimes I'm maybe not brave enough to bring that to life. I feel like maybe I don't know, not ready, not good enough, not whatever, not enough. Yeah, and yeah, I'm looking forward to this because I would like to transform some of those fears in some way, and I'm aware of what's in there. Yeah, and I'm just excited. Thank you.
Over to you.
My name is Lilian. Nice hearing your stories. I'm from Bulgaria. I've been in Berlin for 4 years now. But I'm a online person. So like my whole work life is actually in Bulgaria. I have my own company, so I have been many things in my life. Starting with journalists. But then I managed 2 companies, media companies, and now our company is in media tech. But everything's happening online and I need to connect. Also I'm curious, also I'm bored sometimes. And I also like offline, although very little of it happens to me. I'm trying not to become, to transform myself into a business coach, a little bit different than what Matteo is, more classical. So I did a couple of trainings, always looking for something new for me. Nice meeting you.
Me too.
So I'm Jonathan. I've been in Berlin for 6 years. I'm from London. Originally, most of my career was working for an investment bank in prime brokerage. Since moving here, I've done consulting and been venture partner for a family office looking at the impact, more at the impact side of startups and sustainability. I also had a role heading up partnerships for ESG software company that went quite spectacularly bankrupt last year. And so I'm like having sort of kind of been on both sides of the startup thing. I'm kind of looking at some of the consulting thing and moving that into a product, perhaps, on the software side. So having been sort of so deep in this process for quite a long time, I thought, right, let's just stand out and get part of the process and it's coming here.
Thank you.
My name is Hanna. I came from Ukraine. I live in Berlin 3 years, maybe 2 and a bit. So I came here to pass on the war. And I have my own advertising agency, and I make social media marketing. And also I hate public speaking.
That's a good combination.
Yeah, so because of that, I decided to go to my fears, and I made my own YouTube channel, so I'm content creator. And on my channel, I try to find out, is it possible to be a millionaire in Germany? Is it possible to
really succeed, to thrive, to to be successful. I don't know. I was on the first event with Matteo, and it was about storytelling. And I think it's a wonderful topic because if you can create a story from your business, about your life, about what are you doing, it's a perfect methods to promote your products. Today, of course, I'm curious, so I think I'm sure that it has to be something interesting.
I know. I know there will be a lot of interesting things. Thank you.
I'm Shadi. I've been living in Germany for quite a while, but I still feel like I don't come from Germany or elsewhere because I like moving around. To that, I was born and raised in El Salvador, which always connected me to a very strong desire of doing something for the country I left, for now living in Europe. And that to me was the coffee world. And looking at people, how they share coffee moments and what coffee means to people, but also the economy and the ecosystems where we live. That's where I decided that I wanted to do something with it. Apart from that, I come from the tech world, so all my professional career has been in tech, in product marketing. And a few weeks ago, I decided to leave that finally to focus on the business that I started 2 years ago, which is craft soda made with the coffee cherries. And last year I launched the first batch of this drink, and it's going really well. It was very small, so as we know, an MVP, so to speak, just to test the flavors and the concept of such a product. And now I feel confident to say goodbye to the corporate life and hello to transformation, that I hear it's a common word from all of us, that we're seeking for transformation. So I can resonate with what you say, that you want to transform, going from a one-person initiative, project/concept, to a company that actually yields more than just a few bucks every month. Yeah.
Wonderful. Congratulations. When did you do the shift officially?
A month ago, actually.
How does it feel?
Amazing. Yeah, excited, thrilling, scary, obviously. I can't wait to be ready, full on, all steam, all engines for summer. Because it is, at the end of the day, a new drink. So the best time of the year to introduce and to market a drink that is new is when people have the intent already in their heads of purchasing such a product. Right now in winter, obviously, it's a little bit more difficult for people to convince someone to try something cold, because they don't have that intent in their minds.
I'm your customer. You can sell me easily.
At any time of the year.
Any time of the year. I'm the guy who picks up the newest drinks in the
Amazing. Well, there you go. I need more people like you in the larger majority.
Shall we stay with that for a second? Like, what made you say this is the right time? Because it's 2 years ago. You already...
Yeah.
I guess you had the brand, you started with the batch, etc.
Yeah. So what made me start? So basically, coming from product marketing, you always know and want to make sure that whatever you build or whatever you offer, there's a gap in the market so that it actually fits to what you're creating. And while I was reading through, you're also familiar with the ikigai concept, right? That
Right.
you want to find something that you like and that you're good at. And product marketing / tech was not my ikigai. And I kept on dreading every time that I was waking up in the morning, and every year became worse, right? When you're fresh off from university, you're excited because you're entering the workforce. So it only hits me like, 10 years after I've been doing product marketing, and I'm like, actually, this is not what I love. And then I went back to what actually brings me joy, and it was everything that is connected to analog things, experiences, moments, people, sharing. And coffee was always something that I truly felt passionate about. And then I started reading. I started reading.
looking for a problem to solve. And yes, the fact that I come from the fintech environment gave me that bit of bias into what problems I wanted to solve. And cascara, which is the coffee pulp, became an immediate solution that I wanted to bring to the market, because that was an immediate help for coffee farmers to yield almost 35% of their income by just processing something that they're already producing. So to me, that was immediately the decision to go in and see what I could do about it. But I was obviously not, as a self-employed or as a small entrepreneur, you always want to go slowly, step by step. So I started buying a few cascaras that I could get in Europe, started to make tests and recipes to see if this is actually something that tastes good.
Sorry, what is cascara?
It's the coffee pulp that surrounds the bean. So when you drink a coffee, an espresso, an Americano, whatever you drink, that is made from the seed inside of the fruit, right? And the outer part is not used, which is between 50 or 60% of the fruit, which is a massive waste, right? Both for the environment and the coffee producers. So they're pretty much just selling 50%, or where they're lucky, 60% of their production, and then the rest is just left to nothing, even though it's full of nutrition and flavor. So again, coming from the fintech industry, I'm like, this is a great way to help coffee farmers increase their financial wealth. And that's why I decided to start making tests in the market and seeing if there's an audience for that. And slowly, it was 2 years, obviously, from the moment I started making research, roughly a year and a half, doing some interviews to people in the coffee industry. And then last year, April, was when I launched the first batch. And it was also a decision for me to minimize the investment that I needed for the first batch. So I worked a lot with third parties, contractors. So I didn't, for example, look for a place to brew myself, but rather went and see, yes, the costs of the first batch is higher, but then the fixed costs are not that high. So that's how I started to see what's the best way of bringing an MVP to the market.
So you apply all of your financial wisdom to the operations whilst injecting it with your creativity and your intention.
Right.
Yeah. But what was it that told you, well, now I'm going to go all in?
Right now, you mean?
Yeah, that last month.
So I was...
That's an energy that we all need, basically,
Yeah.
at moments. And so whenever I have somebody that has it like fresh, I love
I feel like
harvest this.
it did play a big role, the fact that I was in Osaka right now. Plus, it's winter here. So I left when it was January. So I left in January. I stayed in Osaka for roughly 3 weeks. And while I was there, I was visiting coffee farms for the second batch. And I was just comparing how much joy I felt working in something that I can see that it will have an immediate impact. The fact that I'm buying the cascara from coffee farmers, that in itself is already an immediate impact, versus working for product marketing for it. I think also the product that I was working on, the grand vision of the company, I don't know if you know, it's Jimdo. It's a company that makes websites. They do work with small entrepreneurs, and the grand vision is nice. But the day-to-day activities that I was doing was very down to the features that, it's like, oh, we're increasing color palettes, or we're increasing... And this didn't fill me as much joy to what I was experiencing right now in El Salvador. And I was like... and there was another question that I kept on also telling my friends. I'm like, right, I'm 33. And I'm like, if I'm looking at my parents, I'm looking at people that are in their 60s, 70s. I don't want to be at that age and be like, okay, I'm still a product marketeer. I'm still from fintech. Great life I'd had. So I'm like, why wait 30 more years? Let's start right now.
It strikes me that it's this internal thing that happens, and it often happens when you go home or you are close to the people you love and to the things you love, that then you have the conviction to say, okay, I'm leaving this company, I'm going into the unknown. I have a plan, obviously, but it comes, you didn't say,
a reply to this question would have been, well, the market conditions indicate a very hot summer, and the beverage market is wants a change, and bio is on the rise, and you could have given me the market analysis answer, and instead the true answer is that you felt good on the coffee farm.
Yeah, I think that is the most important thing for small entrepreneurs. It has to come from within, the conviction and the desire to do something, rather than some outer inspiration or incentive. Because this is the long-lasting incentives that help you to remain true to why you even started. That's true, yeah.
Well, 100%. So where are we going? So it's Cascara is a plant, but Cascara is a brand. So there's
no, cascara is what now the industry calls the outer part of the coffee fruit. But it is, it's the coffee fruit.
Yeah.
Either Arabica or Robusta, which are the main two variations of coffee plants. And it right now mostly is coming from Arabica, which has rather fruitier, lighter, better processed practices.
Okay.
And the cascara is the part around the seed
Yeah.
that is in the fruit. So that's cascara, and the brand is called Casca.
Casca. Okay.
With
there
a
you
K.
go.
Yeah.
Casca with a K. Yeah. There you go.
Say like Casca.
You heard it here first.
Exactly.
So, but where are you going?
Well, back to what you were saying, I want to get to a point. Okay, where am I going? North Star. I want to I want to substitute Coca-Cola.
Okay. We have the
Yeah.
Thinking very.
Yes. Why? Because cascara is also, it has caffeine, but it doesn't have as much caffeine as the coffee seed. So it has the same amount, if not a little bit less than Coke. But right now it cannot be an immediate alternative because people buy Coke. Why did you get Coke right now, actually? Why did you go for Coke tonight?
Today?
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah.
Maybe I get sleepy, so I needed the energy. It's not a way. I decided to quit. I did.
To quit coffee?
Quit coffee, yeah. I listened, but I want a break.
Then why didn't you get a club mate? I think a lot of people go for it because of a bit of caffeine and the flavor. It's a Coca-Cola flavor. We see Coca-Cola flavor being a flavor now. Like you get candies with flavor, Coca-Cola flavor. Like it's also a flavor in people's heads. So I think it's gonna take a while for people to substitute the desire for Coca-Cola and then substitute for Casca. Because Casca doesn't taste like coffee. It tastes rather more like in the direction of mate with a kick of some fruity notes. But it gives that caffeine kick, but not as much like you don't fall, like you can still go to bed 2 or 3 hours later. So that's where I want to go. It's healthier, it doesn't have any sugar, it has antioxidants, it has fiber, it has iron. So it's made from a superfood, whereas Coca-Cola, enjoy your Coca-Cola.
Let's ruin Anna's night. Yeah.
It's a chemical based soft drink, but it's loved by people. And I just want people to, as we are moving towards a healthier life, for people to have their habitual choices to be also healthy.
But what do you see as the difficulties that you're gonna encounter on this journey?
The market itself too. People are excited to try, but it's a different thing to substitute it to their regular choices.
Yeah.
If you go to a restaurant and you sit down and you look around and see what people are ordering for soft drink, it's always going to be Coca-Cola or a Fritz Cola, a mate, depending where you are, and some form of soft drink, either an Apfelschorle or a Hababaschorle. And it's always the same patterns that you see across any restaurants.
Yeah.
Kombucha has had its difficulties and struggles to penetrate the market, but it's slowly making an entrance. But also you see the specific places where they're making an entrance because it revolves around a healthy based environments where people, like if you go to a yoga center, the drink that you will see in the fridge is going to be water or kombucha maybe, and maybe a coconut water. And I think that's where I see Casca too, but it is a struggle to only focus in that market because the size of that market is much smaller versus the size of where the soft drinks usually are, like cinemas or supermarkets or restaurants, bistros, where the frequency of purchase is much higher.
So what makes you the perfect person to do that?
Me personally, that I come from El Salvador, that what drives
power of El Salvador.
I have a power from El Salvador. No, but
Spirit.
the spirit. No, it's I think the reason why I'm doing it, like I'm not coming in with the reason of making money or like building a billionaire business, but rather I'm coming in with an intention to change the market of drinks and beverages, but also to allow a second helping hand to coffee farmers, which is where the whole idea initially started. So I'm looking also for partners that believe in that essence.
Can't agree more. We start with purpose, and all the rest falls into place.
Yeah.
I'll have your drink in my future yoga center, or I don't know, whatever comes out.
Gladly.
It's great to start, right? Like the marketing will be easy because in the environment of where you want to help other people while drinking a drink, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Right? You feel actually good. Okay, so this farmer actually made like an extra. Actually, I'm not sure about the business there works. Is this like big companies or is it small companies who farm the coffee plantation?
It depends on the countries. So in Latin America, usually they work by cooperatives. So that means that small farmers, they come together and then they create a cooperative. And then there is a board members, or however you want to call it, like a group of people that are handling the prices with the market. And whatever they sell, it's like they're taking it from the pool of these small farmers, but they all are part of the same. Like it's not like they owe it to the cooperative, it's like they all part of it. They just have a group of people that are managing that, the selling and the buying. But there's also other countries where you have these small cooperatives, but then the majority, like 60% or 70% of plantations are owned by rich families. But these families have access to these cooperatives, and they also can help the small farmers reach international markets that otherwise they wouldn't. So that's why I think it's important with crops like coffee to be very close to those who do the trading and buy it from the coffee farmers, because it can be very complicated and not complicated, complex. And it's basically this idea, not even fair trade anymore, but really direct to producer. And that's to your question, why does it make me a good person to do this? I have this direct contacts with the producers because I wanted to choose those producers that have the fair practices that I was looking for.
Is there anything I can help you with?
So for this year, now I am the one person who's going to be full-time, right? Like full-time employed. But the yields of last year's production obviously cannot cover for one person's salary yet. It only covers for the costs of the production. So I'm still not, I still have that little fear in me of saying like, okay, instead of producing 5,000 like last year, I'm gonna produce 10,000 this year. And knowing that I only was able to sell 5,000, so I don't dare to produce more because I'm struggling a lot with making the next step with distribution. Because accessing the supermarkets, right now it's very like day to day. I go to the markets, I sell like the time that I need to sell two crates in a weekend's market is a lot if you think of manpower, right? Going to fairs also, it is important, but then the outcome of that is not that big. So my main struggle right now is really distribution, and that is what keeps me from producing more, obviously.
Yeah, it's catch-22. If you don't produce more, the big distribution will against you, won't accept you.
Yeah.
If
yeah.
you don't produce enough.
And if I don't have a contract with a big distributor, then I don't feel confident enough to produce that much because I don't own the production like on the work with contractors. So yeah, I don't know if you have had or anyone here has experience with distribution lines for physical products. How do you get into making these contracts? How do you convince people of like buying off from you, like 20% of your production?
In the German market.
Yeah, or any.
I think we have the specific expertise on that, but maybe what we can explore is, like, up until now, you've highlighted how this is the right time. It's the right kind of mechanism with the farmers. It's also the right kind of product for the moment, and you are in the perfect place because you have this purpose embedded in all of this. How is that translating to you approaching the distribution market? Can you bring that?
What do you mean? Not sure I understood.
Yeah. So that's usually that happens when we get to the core.
That's good.
That's good. So what happens is that you're very confident in saying, I'm going to substitute Coca-Cola eventually. But in order to substitute Coca-Cola, the first thing you need to do is, I don't know, or something like that. And how you bring that same confidence into
Those
the
companies.
next step. Yeah. I notice this personally all the time, that I am a fantastic visionary. I can look so far ahead, but that energy that allows me to go towards the vision is a very dumb operator, because it's an operator who is already like 1,000 steps in the future, while the operation that look like in the next day to day, I don't know, sent you a follow-up email, is not that creative, right? But I have to remind myself that after this meeting tomorrow morning, the first thing is not get distracted by another creative idea and another vision and another goal leaping forwards, which is necessary and it's important, but it clashes. And so there is an inner work that spools the vision, the confidence, the mission, the intact. And at the same time, it should have a very rational, measurement-oriented translation of all of that into, well, the best next actions to move the business forwards is, because you need to have that answer, and you don't get that answer from Ikigai or from the business model canvas or from any other framework. That answer comes from that same place, but there's a fork in the road. It's not in 10 years Coca-Cola is acquiring Coca-Cola and changing it from the inside out. That's my next action. Like, I need to set a meeting with, I don't know, wait, go to the conference where this person is going and say, oh, we're going to the same conference. How are you? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so this would be something to obviously explore in way more depth, like where we have this beautiful source of certainty and confidence. How can we translate it both in the vision and in the strategy, and then in the tactics, and then the day-to-day, and then in the next email?
Mm-hmm. So we're following the same state of mind that one puts on the North Star.
Yeah.
To also the small milestones. Yeah, I feel like I can only think of, and I think this happens to anyone that is trying to also acquire new clients, that when you're trying to approach either a new client or someone that you've approached maybe yesterday or last week or maybe even last year, you don't know that if you should change immediately your tone of voice, or if you should change immediately your hook, or what you're leading with. And I think this is also something that might be coming from either lack of confidence or lack of what actually makes me, or my product. But it's always this battle between, should I stop with what I led with in the first message and just like hammer that on for 3, 4, 5 more times until they finally pay attention to the email? Or should I continue changing my strategy for every single reach out that I make?
Obviously, there's marketing frameworks that we can apply. And I'm sure that, Hannah, you with an agency know everything about direct outreach and how to craft a message that will resonate with the audience, and so on and so forth. But I think you just said the magic words, when do I need to change my voice? Why do you need to change your voice? That's interesting.
It comes from the trying to solve the why didn't I get an answer?
Right. So
you're trying to find the reasons. Was it my voice? Was it the message? Was it the subject line? Was it the time that I sent the email? Was it the length of the email? So I think that's where you start trying to think of the variables that you should change. Because if you did something that didn't yield results and you do it again, you're commonly going to think it's again not going to yield any results.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it's very nice that you made this topic, because somehow I have the same feeling, because I also have to produce my services, and I had the same feelings. So when I started,
it's interesting to stay with the problem in terms of, it sounds paradoxical, right? But basically, I'm working with a client right now, and what is happening is that literally everything is going wrong for her. Like everything that can go wrong, her previous company, her current offer, all of the partners, the employees, the clients, the financials, everything is going on. Like to a degree, like that is paradoxical. It's like, why is this happening? And the reason why it's happening, it's starting to emerge, is that there's a radical change that is needed, and the environment is providing all of the nurturing, which is very negative nurturing, to say disruption. From now on, everything needs to change. You got to find your confidence. You're going to find it internally, and you have to impose this confidence to the market very strongly. And so whenever we are faced with a problem, the temptation is to say, oh, I solved it like this. Let's do a round of the table. How would you solve it? And I'm sure we would all have really helpful answers to that. However, what I noticed through experience is that the answer that brings the most is the one that you access through your own wisdom. And the one that you access through the fear. Because if you think, okay, it's a cultural problem. All right, so Erin Meyer, I forgot if I'm blanking on the title of the book, but is the book about all the culture map. All right, so I just need to read the culture map. The culture map is a beautiful book. It has 6 to 8 different frameworks, low context, high context cultures. It's beautiful. So I'm gonna apply that and I'm gonna solve my problem. And then I go back to the problem and it's not solved. And then I say, okay, there's this new sales course by Grant Cardone. Let me get a sales framework course where I can learn all the techniques for closing, because it's a closing problem. And then I learn all of these techniques. And then I go back with exactly the same intention, like I'm fearful of negative feedback and I fear that I need to react to the negative feedback, which is what we all feel when we send a direct message on LinkedIn, or we send an email, or we try to set up a call and we get a no. We all feel, okay, they're saying no to me. Now, I don't know if anyone here has ever run an advertising campaign, like on the internet. So when you run an advertising campaign, basically you, in a matter of days, weeks, you get thousands, millions of no's. Basically, your campaign says, okay, I've delivered 1 million impressions. Okay, these 1 million impressions are 1 million no's. And if you interpret those as negative feedback, and you say, what do I need to change internally? And how do I need to change the way that I work? Then basically what happens is that you're constantly changing that campaign in order to optimize it. But that 1 million no's are a great benchmark, because they're telling you, okay, through this campaign, we are looking for the one yes, and we already got 1 million no's, so we are 1 million ahead of getting the result. What we think as a negative, this campaign is not delivering, it is actually delivering. It's delivering what are the impressions, what are the first impressions that don't lead to direct ROI, but are indicative of the possibility of a yes. And it's very counterintuitive, because basically you would like to have 1 million impressions and 1 million leads, but it doesn't work that way in advertising. And then when you get it down to you taking on your phone and calling somebody, and it hurts, and you think, this is negative feedback, I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I'm dialing with the left, maybe dial with the right. Oh no, maybe if I do it like this, it's gonna be better. Maybe.
Can I make a comment on what you refer to as that is a no? For me, it also means like it's no to not everything potentially. Maybe it's a no to the visual, and because there's a no to the visual, the conversation in people's heads didn't go beyond the message maybe. So translating that to say the emails, maybe there's the impression is one person or what is one client, no answer, it's a no. But maybe it's not a no to my request. Maybe it's a no, again, to the way the copywriting that I used for the subject line. And maybe they read it, but they didn't click on it. So they didn't even get to the message. So I think that's where it also becomes interesting to me to know, what are they saying no to?
What are they saying no to? Yeah. My question is, are they actually, are they even saying no?
Exactly.
Are they saying, because sometimes it's just, you gotta do it again exactly the same way. Mm-hmm. And the second time, now it was the right time for me to actually go with that message.
Right.
And it's hard to know. Well, it's hard to measure, I think. It's the same with a campaign. It's really hard to measure. Like, okay, 1 million impressions, I'm gonna stop the campaign. Just before
just
one impression.
Just before the one person said it.
Yeah. With my dream client, I would solve all my problems.
It was the distributor.
It was Erika. No, it's Soeba.
Yeah, you could get B2B Ego on Facebook. It happens all the time. Yeah. So.
I mean, people will say yes to your contracts are people.
Exactly. And
the director of distribution of Reva on her evening after work.
Yeah. What is this drink? It's so appealing. So well packaged. Yeah, I think we're all feeling that. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you for the space.
You're welcome. So anybody else feels that they have this energy that is bubbling, and this vision that is looking for some reason. But I could look this way or I could look that way.
Goodness.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So I am in a similar position with her. Actually, there are two common things that we shared with you. One is the time that we decided to quit our job.
You did too?
Yes, I'm in the process. Wow. The second is Actually, they're firing me. I'm not good cooking by myself. The second is my family produces olive oil, and we have our own brands. And I was importing those to Germany, and I did a door-to-door sale and find the distribution channels, got the rejections. And at the beginning, I was getting it to a very personal level because it was the product that we produced with our heart. We were not mixing it, we were not mass producing it. It was a boutique and very carefully selected product, and they were just saying, no. Yeah, I will not go deep into that, but I think we share a common story there. So getting back to the first one, which is I'm living my secure, fancy title corporate job. I'm in a very good place in a very good reputed company. It feels scary, but since my childhood, I always had this pattern emerging time to time that I really enjoy creating something from scratch. Be responsible for all of it. Like I do really hold it so dear, that process. Like, okay, this idea came, and then I want to do this, I want to do that, and then I want to do that. And owning the full process and being responsible, accountable for the results. That is losing money, that is making someone happy or not. So this thing started coming when I was in this corporate job. Like I said, I was in healthcare, I was serving for humanity. That is giving me an immense pleasure. But when I was coming to headquarters, like I was traveling to countries to serve to people, serve to humanity, I was the best, I was the happiest. And as soon as I came back to headquarters, I was having a best office probably in Prenzlauer, looking at the TV tower and having my own terrace. But I was the saddest person in that environment because somehow that was meeting my energy. Like that personality, some of my colleagues, they saw me in the humanitarian aid projects. You're a completely different person. You're not that person when you come to here. So something was very annoying in that place. And it was like it was bugging me. Like, I know I'm not creative in this space. I'm not fully shining my color. I want to be engaging. I want to connect with people. In my daily job, I connect people from France to Turkey to Sweden. You would never imagine with CEOs, which people I connect across the board. And that gives me an immense pleasure, not because I'm generating some money for purpose, but it is because I have this inner satisfaction that at the end it will serve for the humanity. At the end it will touch someone's life and then make their life better. So that was my drive. And I several times pitched a couple of ideas, creative ideas to my company. Like your clients, it's been all refused. They turned me down. They said, no, don't promote it. You will not get any budget from us. Just be quiet, do whatever you want, but don't come with these kind of things. And then after 8 months or a year, they mutually took that concept and then apply it. So I guess the universe was just telling me that it is time to, like a plant, it was my time. I was not fitting in this plant box anymore. I need to be replanted somewhere else. But I was so scared to make that jump. The last year I had the concepts ready. My co-founder is in Australia. We start building this idea. But somehow I was never fully invested in this idea because there was always a security, it's paying the bills, it's giving you a big title. When I'm walking to countries, they are welcoming me with the red carpets. I'm being a guest in good hotels, good dinners, no one is rejecting me. That was a big thing in sales. So when I go there, people open the doors for me. And I knew that some time will come and I had to do the exit. And the universe just said, we are not up to you. But... And they come to me. They said, your profile, because I'm a funky guy for corporate, like, is not fitting for the future of the company.
Wow.
And I had to accept this.
For how long were you there for?
3.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And now I'm in this point where there's something inside me. It's coming right from here. I feel like the future will be bright. It's not in terms of the society is bright. It's just telling me that, okay, I might screw up all the bank account I have right now. It might be, I will burn all the money during this process. There is something is telling me that at the end, even if I'm going to be successful or fail, we don't know it. I will be happy. I will be content with what I have. But at the same time, I'm extremely concerned about this finance part, how I'm going to make this thing fly. And I've been rejected. I was very confident with some of the funding opportunities. They reject me, and I was expecting that. So I didn't know still how to not serious.
How did you find your co-founder?
He's my best friend from childhood.
Okay. How did you find a co-founder in you?
I'm an engineer, and in Turkey, this is where I'm coming from. The smartest people either become doctor, MDs, or engineers. This is how the education system is being set up, or they become a lawyer. Yeah. So instead of his score very high, he was a third in whole Turkey in exam. He was extremely smart guy. I was not that smart. I was just a friend of him.
That is smart.
And I was following him. He went to the top uni with the full sponsorships and stuff like that. And I go to random uni. That's not that bad, but was good. So later, he decided to not go for MD, but he decided to become an engineer. And I was like, because, if you look for money, it's always good to be an MD, a medical doctor in Turkey. If you want to be like a genius, you want to be stick in these creative spaces, engineering. And he did that. And he was constantly publishing open source things where I was thinking, because I found my own business third time in the first year of uni. So I was coming up with creative ideas and immediately try to make money out of it. That's me in a nutshell. And he was putting it in an open space, public for free. He was having his blog and I was having my blog. And he was sharing all because, and I was like, dude, I could have made money with this. Why did you put it out there? And long story short, he ended up in Australia. He worked for Australian government and stuff like that. When we didn't know about AI and machine learning like today, he was doing his PhD on these technologies, and he builds pattern recognition systems and etc. And when I came up with this idea, he was the first person in my mind. Okay, who can tackle this in a technical level? That's it. So I reached out to him and I told him, hey, I have this vision, I have this idea. He didn't even ask you how much percentage I will give him. I said, okay, let's do it. Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's also one of the, I don't know if anyone here feels the same, but I think that's another big question. How do you find a co-founder and what is the right fit And the thing that you said, like, it didn't even ask for percentage, that also is one of the main questions that people start the conversations with. Or like, what am I going to be responsible for?
But we have 2 stories so far where to get confirmation for your idea, you went home, and to get a co-founder, you went home, metaphorically.
Yeah.
So there might be... you're bringing some arguments to my thesis here.
Interesting.
Very, yeah.
No.
Well, honestly,
Yeah.
the question you asked for her,
Yeah.
what was the thing that
Yeah.
made you to step in or jump in? I think it started, or it was part of this event you made it here, the pitch event, or the pitch event that was storytelling.
Oh, yeah. The pitch event we had before the summer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you were pitching the entrepreneur idea, right?
Yes, I was filled with idea.
Inside out.
Yes.
Let's say, yeah.
And in that event, we met with Matteo and Emily. And then when I met with Emily, after 2 minutes, even not 2 minutes, she just turned around and she found the venture capitalist. She said, "Hey, you guys could be a nice fit, like, just meet." And then I felt like, okay, this is impractical. This is me. Like, yeah, this is how I connect people. In my job, it is like this. People approach me and they say, "What do you do?" And he says, "I'm running a family office." And then, "Oh, you have an idea? You have a family office? Look, maybe you can find a synergy." And then we become friends. And then everybody start inviting me more Matteo events. And afterwards, this door opened for me, the factory, where I start feeling like, when I'm walking to office in my corporate job, I ping people. "Hey, what's up? How is it going today? How are you? Are you enjoying the sunshine? Hey, what was the trip last night?" Like these kind of things. And people are usually a bit, I don't want to be stereotyped, but not sharing the same mindset you have. Like they want to have their own space and stuff like that. Whereas I came here to the factory, and then I was just talking to people that start showing you like a mirror. You say something, they're coming back to you with something, and that was like, that's nice.
But also it's your energy. And I love you here because this is what you do to people. You come up and then you just open something, and then you want to talk. And I noticed that because before you came, it wasn't like that. And then you come and people are kind of like, lighten up. So
maybe this is my mission. I don't know. I'm a supervision person. I believe that maybe my mission is this. And this was this was a sign that the universe gave me. Hey, now we have respect to your place. Now you're changed. You're no longer in that fancy office, but you ever had a fancy office with good people, different environments. And then things at work start changing. Like they're torn because they decided at the back of the doors that they're gonna kick me out. And then, this idea, like for the first time in January, someone had an exact idea I have in my mind for a year, came up with the same startup in the US, in California. And I was like, how come this whole things can come at the same time and they kick my ass? And probably I'm in the same spot like you're a very clan. Things are just saying something.
Yeah, they're just coming together. It's like a wave.
It's like a wave, yes.
As you were telling me before this metaphor, but it is like, and when you're out at sea, waves come and chaos comes and unexpected things come. And then they just decided for you. They gave you this gift. So how does it feel now?
Feels light. Whenever I come here, I feel light. I really feel that I'm in the right place, talking with right minds people.
Why do you feel you're in the right place?
I think the energy of the people around me, they smile, they understand me. I'm just being myself. I'm not trying to be someone, try to fake something, you know. I'm also part of a cycling club, it's the same. I'm also happy there. Because no one is judging me because I'm wearing some bracelet or opening 2 buttons of my shirt. That is down like doing this up, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. And how are you dealing with the rejection in this situation? You're coming with this energy and it feels right, it's light and feels you're in the right place.
Yeah.
How are you managing the...
I have a wisdom that I learn from dating. No, I'm a very old school man. I don't like these dating apps and stuff like that. When I like someone, I just go. And then, you know, perfect. I just go approach and then look deep into their eyes and then say, hey, you know, there's probably something very unique sparked my attention. And I'm just honest about what that feeling is, just going with that. And then if they say no, or this is happening a lot, you know, they are just not interested in. At the beginning, I was taking too personal. I was like, oh, how comes? Like, I'm a good guy. They should have at least talked to me, listened to me, listened my story. Why they didn't like me? Like, my hair is wrong. Let me go to the restroom and fix my hair. Or, you know, what is this? And then later, this thing I learned, you know, there might be like zillions of things can go wrong. The stars needs to be aligned in that way. Maybe she's having a bad day. She just had an argument with someone. Maybe she's not single at all. Maybe in the tram, someone was smelling bad just 5 minutes ago. And then her whole mood has changed. Maybe she's not having her best time of the year, whatever. So when I approach, it was a me. Like, if I'm being authentic self, it's not about me. Like, I just put myself out there as who I am. And then if the other person is liking it, it's like a polarization, you know, it's just connects, it clicks. Sometimes I feel it in my stomach. Like, I also study a bit of neuroscience. There is this channel goes to from your microwave to the brain. I feel it, like it's gone. It says something. And then I share that excitement, not try to portray something, because I think that's the killer thing. And then see how it goes. And after learning this, being just authentic myself and then not care about the rejection, I try to, anytime now I get the rejection, for example, the funding I mentioned here, I was thinking, oh, maybe there are other girls sitting other bars or other places that would be much more colorful for me, or that there is a different future for me. It's that this one just not the right fit, and it didn't open. We didn't get polarized because if these guys, the funding guys, didn't give me the money right away, that means that they didn't like it that much. What I'm looking for is hell yes. The other meh. You know, if they say meh, that means that during our whole relationship with these guys, I will be just meh guy. Whereas I really want to be like, hell yes, you know, we believe in this, and we trust this guy.
Yeah.
And I'm seeking for that. It's a nervous seeking because, you know, at the end I have to survive in this country. I'm an expat. I have to take care of my finance. But this is the wisdom I try to apply.
Wow, nothing to add there. Keep it up. Just that's the spirit.
Yeah.
I love that you indicated to your gut feeling. So I think as long as you're connected with that, yeah, that's got all the answers. The problem is that sometimes there's a wave, there's some chaos that disconnects you from that. I think this is the trouble that I feel at times. That there's type of crisis that gets you more connected with your gut feeling, but there's some types of crisis that disconnect you from the feeling.
Yeah.
And you're like more like, should I change myself? Should I change my pitch? And stuff like that. And it's very hard to know which one you have to invite, which part of the sea and the storm is the one that you need to invite, and the one that you not listen to. Otherwise, it kind of disconnects the frequency. You lose your favorite station on the radio.
That brings me in question. Today I was trying to put the things together for another pitch session. And there I was looking at the headlines and the sections. Of course, there is this template or this form that people appreciate and follow. But at the same time, there is this funky side of me wants to express myself like, I want to convey this story with the visuals I like, with the way I want to phrase the things. So there I was a bit nervous which path to pick, because if I stick with my authenticity, which probably every pitch I will do, but not on that decks because they don't appreciate out of form decks, how I can keep this balance, like making sure.
So, is this really a problem? What do you think?
I think I want to just follow what my inner self wants to do, and if they don't accept it, maybe I'm not in the right place, or maybe I'm trying to try to knock the wrong door. Maybe I should bootstrap itself.
You so chose. You see that there isn't like, sure, let's ask Jonathan, what is the best template for a pitch deck? Which would be like, oh, let's create the connection in the room, and most probably you have good advice on what a great pitch is, and we're going to hear it in a second. But there's also put yourself in a position where you don't need a pitch deck, or you have a pitch deck that you really believe in, and it tells the story. And you can also be very opportunistic about it. You can weave the numbers and the figures and the slides in your favorite story. So you don't need to, I am in this camp. I'll never ever give them what they want. No, you can weave the things together. Or why don't I not solve the problem? Why don't I pitch directly my client? Why do I bootstrap? Why don't I look at another part of the money market and so on? Like, knowing that these markets are all symmetrical. Like, you're desperately in air quotes looking for funding, but there's somebody who has money who is desperately looking for a project. Okay, they'll never tell you that they're desperate, and you'll never tell them that you're desperate, but actually there is this energy from both parts. I don't think that was really a problem. I had to read it.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is that you have to decide, right? Like, what are you going to do, I guess. Like, if you're going to start on your own and do this with more risk on yourself, and then you have to be convinced and have everything in place more, I guess.
Yeah.
Or continue to research for VC, I guess. Funding. Like, just from my personal experience, the way I started in getting into a startup was already clear I want to bootstrap it. I don't want to be financed from externally. Maybe other people are different, but for me it was always about, okay, I'd have to do this form to be independent, right? Otherwise you would be in a corporate situation still, or maybe I'm looking in the wrong way. But it feels like, okay, there's always someone else kind of a little bit meddling into your affairs. And I guess if you go in it, then it should be like the whole way. You are responsible for it, also the failure. And yeah, but it's only my perspective. So yeah, I'm a fan of bootstrapping, but can't show any great success yet. So yeah, maybe there's some other perspectives of it also.
Oh, I'm sure there are. I mean, there's all the possible perspectives on this. Honestly, I think there's a lot of arguments for getting funding, not getting funding, and then how to get it from where, turning the project inside out so that it doesn't need even funding, or all the possible. And it's all about finding that internal drive to do it that way or that way or that way or that way. And there isn't a right or wrong way. You're giving birth to something new, and it's unique. It's never been done. It's never, even if you're creating the German copycat or something they're working somewhere else, it's still unique. It's still going to be done by different team of different people with different ideas. And so there's no right or wrong answer. That's the fun part and the kind of philosophical part of entrepreneurship, and that I'm attracted to. Whereas there's no right or wrong, as long as you follow first principles. And more or less right now we're still making companies for people. In the future it might change. We might create companies for computers, but the first principles are always there. And B2C, B2B, they're all the same first principles. And then the human element that you inject into the market, into the idea, and into the context, into the distributors, into the product, into the agency, into the world, that changes the equation. Like Lydia wants to be more of a coach, and as she said, she's going to be a different coach than me. There's plenty of space in the to have thousands, millions, hundreds of millions of all of these ideas. There is another company doing the same thing that you're doing in the United States. Let's hope that there's one in Guatemala, one in Belize, one in Ghana, and that they all kind of find their way to you. They can be partners, they can be part of your network. Who knows?
Yeah, but I think we always have this scarcity mindset that if someone else is doing something similar, they will take your clients, or maybe they're better, or you have all those fears that there's not enough space in the market, which is not true, of course, but this is I guess, natural fear. I also am thinking, there's so many people that are doing exactly what I'm doing. I'm nothing special, why am I supposed to succeed? I also have those thoughts, especially when I'm in a worse mindset. So I just wanted to add that I think it's just natural that when we start something and then we see, there's so many other people doing similar, or maybe they're not similar, maybe they're just not similar from the outside. But maybe it's also my insecurity speaking right now, but I always have this kind of this also feeling in my mind.
How does it feel in this situation? How does the scarcity?
I think I go more into a freeze mode, so I kind of feel blocked. So that's my way of reacting to something that overwhelms me. And when I was listening to your stories, I guess that's my turn now. I made a lot of notes because many things resonated with me, and I realized also I'm doing kind of self-therapy on the way, writing things for myself. So I realized that I have this lots of energy when I'm starting something new. I'm jumping all in. So it's not the first time I'm starting something on my own. It's I had this inspiration, And then I don't care about anything, about money, nothing. I have €1 on my account, but I'm jumping in because I want to start this. But then the moment comes when it becomes reality. I registered my business. Now it's real. It's not just my idea, my vision. And then when the doubt comes, and when I get into the freeze, it overwhelms me and I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, even though I know it's a good thing, it's a good product or service, like I have lots of drive, a lot of inspiration, a lot of ideas, but then at some point I get into that, I don't know, the moment when, I feel like I get stuck at some point and I have energy to start and very often, it doesn't continue forward. And then I have another idea and then I get excited about what I will do in 10 years. But you were talking about those like real measures, real steps that I have to take towards that goal, and I get too excited and too distracted about the future, and I'm like already oh my god, this is so amazing, and and I'm planning something for not now but somewhere ahead. So this is like one of my I just get too excited, and then I don't actually do steps towards tomorrow.
Tomorrow is it's the hardest thing. My opinion. Tomorrow is the hardest thing. Like, I have it here. I have my list of priorities for tomorrow. And I don't know, I'm constantly rewriting the priorities, what comes first. And
That's also my calendar. So I always put tasks or what I want to do, what I will focus on, what's my plan, what I should be doing actually to move this thing forward, right? But then I drag it to the next day, and then priorities change, or I sit and look and what do I want to do today? Nothing from here.
Yeah.
And I always feeling guilty about it, because my to-do list is so long, but I'm doing something else, totally something else, because right now I'm inspired to write whatever instead of actually selling, getting customers, which I should be doing. Since I'm really I'm self-employed 100% and I don't have anything on the back. I don't have any part-time job, nothing on the side. No savings, right? I just jumped in and then I'm like, oh.
That is a gift, by the way, to have the guts, the courage to do something like that. Scarcity, freeze, then distraction, starting something new, but then guilt, and then doubt, then guilt. Yeah. It's a very businessy problems. So, what is the? Maybe let's go all the way to the end. What is the guilt about?
Not doing enough. I feel like I've been. We are all probably conditioned to do things, and then even though it took me I've been kind of aware person still. Or conscious person, and I know what's good for me. That sometimes it's okay to not do anything. It's okay to take a break. Still, this guilt that is so deep there is always telling me that this is not enough. You're not doing enough. You may be doing it wrong, or why are you not doing anything? Go there and start cooking. And it's a real bummer because it's not a nice feeling.
Yeah.
Sucks. Yeah. And at the same time, it's very. At the same time, I have this kind of peace in a way. It's weird. So I'm feeling guilty, but that on the other side, I have this feeling inside of me that it's you're on the right track, and I know that it's going to be fine, and it's also there. So I'm jumping from one to another, or maybe they even exist at the same time. One is telling me it's fine, you're going great. What the worst that can happen? Really not much, The worst that can happen is that I don't know, I will move to my mom for a few weeks to recover from being broke, go back to Poland for a few weeks, and it's fine, you know. It's not that important.
Closer than El Salvador.
Yeah, and it, you know, it's not really bad. Like the worst, it's not bad. Just chill for free, you know, rent free.
So there's a somehow a connection, like there's a source of this peace, freedom, sensation, and I'm gonna be all right, I'm doing the right thing, and there's a source of this, you gotta do,
Yeah,
you have a form.
yeah, there's different parts like
Yeah.
talking at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess we all have that one voice is saying something else and the other is saying something else. And I know that the one that is like criticizing me or like being mean to me is trying to just protect me from something, right?
Yeah.
Like, because also, as I said in the beginning, it's not the first time I've been trying to do something on my own. So I had this like little business, for example, like before I moved here in Poland. And I'm the person who doesn't ask for help, or if I maybe also have trust issues. And I love to have a partner and a team. But at the same time, I love doing, because it, like every company is my baby, you know? It's like mine, and I know what it needs, and I don't want to give it to someone else. So I've been doing so much by myself that I was really tired, so I came here. And then I liked it here, so I thought, let's stay here, right? It was supposed to be 3 months, now it's 9 years. And
Berlin, you mean?
yeah, Berlin, yeah. So at some point I had to make a decision that I cannot do it remote, because it was also pretty analog business. Like I was designing underwear. It was being sewn locally. It was all like EU, like sustainable, like super nice, but it was there. So when I'm moving here, I had to make a decision. How do I do it? Do I move it here? Do I go back? Do I do it remote? But at that point I was like just 20 something. It was like 2016 or something, and I didn't have the language skills for here to bring it here. There was a lot of issues, so I had to say goodbye to this, and there was a lot of grief with that process to say goodbye to my baby that I created by myself. I poured so much soul into that project. Yeah, and even though it wasn't a failure, because I mean, if I stay, I would continue it. In my mind, the story became a failure, that, oh, your business failed. So every time I start something new, like there's this fear coming back, oh, you'll fail again because you failed that first one or second attempt of being fully self-employed and not going back to employment. So my story is basically, I worked somewhere, I quit, I started on my own, then, I don't know, I move, I go back to employment, and I'm like, done with this, then I start something on my own, then Corona comes, I wrote off to the office because it's difficult to be sustainable in like Corona times, and then, you know, so it's like, and in my mind it's failure, even though I didn't really fail fully, you know, because like Corona was not my failure. Anyways, yeah. So now I'm starting again something on my own. And again, the same kind of fears come back that, oh, you'll fail again, because, you know, that's what happens. You get so excited about the project and then, yeah.
Until the scarcity comes in.
So yeah. And then I see that, oh, maybe I'm not so special, and maybe my skills are like so many people that they say. Yeah.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
You're mentioning a lot this failure feeling. Have you ever thought of thinking about what you're missing out if you don't fail?
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying that this cannot save in my brain as a failure, but if I take a step back, none of them will failure. Like I know, like if I switch to not my emotions, but it's like I've learned so much that I wouldn't do it otherwise, you know. Sorry. Yeah. But I know what you mean, like that I would have missed all those lessons if I didn't fail, right?
Yeah.
That's what you mean, right?
I guess I was trying to say like maybe it's also not about finding the word failure. Maybe it's also just seeing failure as the objective in the journey. Because without those failures, then you would be in corporate jobs.
Yeah.
And that's where my question was more headed to, like, if you're not going through those failures, which is one scenario, like going through these experiences, which you're calling failure, let's call it like that, because it is something that didn't turn out, let's call it failure for the sake of
Yeah, exactly. But it's not really, right? It's just what I'm kind of calling it, but it's not. And
yes. Because I had something similar like 2 years ago, not within the spectrum of business, but in personal mine. And someone told me this, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's true. Like, thinking about it from the point of, you put it in a balance of, do I rather miss out on this when I don't do it? Or do I rather keep doing this and miss out on, put
and
any
you
balance?
master the one that you
Exactly.
did, right? Because you gain so much in the process.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be the person who stayed somewhere for something in a job, right?
Yeah. Because staying in a corporate job is also failure, if you want to call it as well. Like, you're failing to yourself. You're failing to the joy that you're not feeling.
You're not following something inside, right? You just kind of numb it and are miserable. Yeah. And we all know that feeling because we're all like, no. Yeah.
Paying the opportunity cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Pay into this bucket that you basically burn the money in there.
Yeah, it's a mix between the multiverse and the opportunity costs, in the sense that there's different timelines competing.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, what is your motivation? So what is your great goal, maybe?
I mean, I want to change the world. I want to change the corporate world. I want to change like a lot of things. And
your personal? Your personal?
My personal?
Yeah, so, yeah. In each world...
yeah, but, like what I'm doing, maybe why I'm doing it. Because that's just something so natural to me and it feels so good that I cannot not do it. It's just something so deep that I don't want to do anything else, So this is filling me, this like, call it how you want it, but so as like success, like passion or like love, like I don't know, when I'm facilitating something or I'm teaching yoga or whatever I'm doing, I'm just so deeply connected and I just feel like I'm in the right place at that moment. And that's it, And then, of course, I have this idealistic goals of like, I really want to change something. And that was the problem when I was in corporate. I couldn't because I was fighting with the system and everybody was saying like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, this is like crazy, you're not changing anything here. Especially when it comes to well-being, So I was getting a wall from, in the corporate world as an employee. Yeah.
I can recommend Malcolm Gladwell, maybe you've heard of it, The Outliers, and his way of defining success. I think it can be valuable also. Valuable, really.
You need the title again?
Outliers. Malcolm Gladwell.
Very, very good book. Great. Yes.
Yeah, redefining how we see success as well.
But this feeling that you have when you're doing your thing, it's the opposite of scarcity. It's already there. Like you already have the antidote. But how you bring it to the other, to the operator of the business, that is the question between you as changing the world.
Yeah. Because when I'm there, I'm not here, I'm not overthinking, comparing myself, drinking water.
Comparison, yes. Goodness. Such a disease.
Yeah, and it's all good. But when I come out of this and I'm like opening my computer and I don't know, I'm going on LinkedIn.
And looking at everybody else is doing things. Absolutely. I'm not either that or a symptom of something very, very bad. Yeah. Definitely. But that really the job is to bring one to the other and to bring it in that distilled version that is actually useful to reaching out to new clients, getting more no's, finding out the right way of doing it. And it's usually, the things break down usually at sales or money. This is what I experience. Like if you want to know exactly what's going on in a company, just ask about sales and money. And money is a big problem because we all have just one single fixed mindset on money, and that is imposed by the corporate scheme of things. So basically all of the money infrastructure, consumer infrastructure, is for people that have a regular wage coming in the bank at a certain day of the month. All of it. And like even like I was going through an interface on the bank and was like, are you an employee or are you a freelancer? And then choose freelancer. And then the next thing is, what is your monthly income? It's like, are you stupid? You just ask me if I was a freelancer or an employee. I don't have a monthly. I need to go, I don't know, I need to go back to my books and calculate things, and it doesn't even specify if it wants the gross or the net revenue there. So it's this whole system, and so it's private, it's your private money mindset, but then the private money mindset goes into the company. Like it gets undiluted, it gets into how you operate the business. And next to that, there's all of the fixed mindset on sales. Sales are bad, sales are sleazy, sales are inappropriate, sales are an intrusion in other people's lives, and so on. And these two things are just deadly killers. So sometimes when I give a talk, I ask the audience, like, can you check your bank account now for me? And then I ask them, do you feel better or worse than before? And there's usually like one or two lucky people that say, I feel better because they just got a payment, but everybody else feels worse about it. And that's really that scarcity is at work, and it's a number. It's exactly the number that you have on a bank account. And it doesn't matter how large or small it is. There's always like, it's gonna get smaller. Before we close, I wanted to hear from Jonathan and from Lilia, who's we haven't heard in the round, but if you have anything to add, any thoughts, love to hear them. And I want to be sensitive to time and close, and we can have some drinks and hang around.
Yeah, I just want to share, because when I was listening to all of you, for me it was super interesting to get a side. We had some people who were so intended to start something on their own, to not think about anything. So it's, for me, it's super interesting, super exciting to see how you function, like also how I function, because I've been through that process many times. Because like I cannot tell you how many times I quit the job without knowing what to do. So, but now when I see you, it's super exciting, and I'm very grateful to you being so open and sharing.
Nikki.
Yeah, I found this very interesting for me. So I spent a lot of my time looking at decks and listening to people present in terms of trying to get funding. And when I'm now on the other side of that, it's quite interesting trying to get into someone else's shoes. Like, and I think there's one thing though that I was always convinced by, because I always think it's something that needs to come across, and that is conviction in whatever it is that you want to do, or your vision. You know, my side of things now is like I have the idea. I've done a little bit of the scientific research insofar as it is the market, blah blah blah. Is the next day bit that actually for me, and I think this has gone around the room a little bit, this is definitely my biggest challenge, because it's quite large. There's a lot of moving parts to it, and it's one of those things where there's a lot of moving parts and you have to move quite quickly, because you do, particularly if you've got an idea that's obviously disruptive. I think that's a bit of an overstatement, but and a niche that's big enough that could be copied quite quickly. You need to move quite quickly. So being able to be organized enough to think about the next day, next hours sometimes, I think for me this is, I definitely need to give that a lot more focus, which is why I'm taking back from here, because I think, you know, when you have the luxury of looking at something that's from investor side, I'm like, okay, their problem, they fix it. Whereas when I'm sort of like, you know, I'm doing this probably initially from my own funding, it's like, yeah, every single penny sort of counts, and it's a very different space. I don't really have anything to add right now, but it's been very useful in a different way. Abstract, it's good.
Abstract one was good. I can use that for my marketing.
So it kind of defines my approach very well. I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for coming here tonight and spending all this time. You'll see there's a flyer on the table and somewhere else as well. I do organize stuff, and some of the stuff I organize is some larger retreats, and actually what you have there is a one-day intensive that I do at the Lily Farm in Brandenburg, 45 minutes from here. And I'd love for you to be curious about it and reach out to me. So
I wanted to say thank you very much for this event. And usually when people speak about business, and mostly people speak about success story, always hear the success story from the state, PK, I could, and it was really important to speak about products and challenges that we are having, and I really found a lot of challenges the same as I have, and it makes me feel more confident and like, okay, if I have these doubts, it's okay, everybody has.
You're not alone.
yes,
Well, it was great. I think
And you're not alone.
no, we're all on the same side at some point.
As being self-employed can be also lonely, and sometimes you just get in your head and you think, oh, it's just only your problem. But we also know from experience that the moment you gather up with other people, everything is human and we all have the same issues, right? So you just need to speak more about it, I feel. And I really appreciate this little group.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, I wouldn't be able to function if I didn't have behind me a support network of coaches, of entrepreneurs, etc. But now I don't want to sell you the concept. You already bought the concept. But definitely, I'd love to meet you at the farm, either in April or later on. I think the date is April 5th. It's a Saturday. And anyway, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you.